Welcome to Tuesday Talks, and I'm so excited because I actually get to talk to a dear friend, Lou, and just I'm so excited. Can you tell? Now, Lou is actually a digital marketing consultant and helps to elevate businesses to new levels of success. And we're actually going to talk about online presence and authenticity. So I'm really excited, and thank you, Lou, so much for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I've been really looking forward to this for some time. A little bit excited, a little bit anxious, excited, that feeling.
Oh yeah, yes. And I get that as the host. I'm like, oh, will I do the right thing? Will I say the right thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. And so for you, what does being authentic actually mean for you?
For me, I think it's just um not letting yourself be bound by preconceived ideas of what society thinks
Mhm.
you should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, because I grew up in a religion, so there was perceived, that. And then when I left, it was like, well, what do I do now? So yeah, and then to start a business and have all of these people tell you how you should show up and how you should do this and how you should do that. It's like, hang on, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, finding communities like the heart-centered group, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's just such a relief to have a networking group like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. And for those that are following that are not aware, there's an amazing group, and you can actually find it on Facebook, Heart Centered Soul Driven Entrepreneurs Group. And I agree, like Tash has really nurtured that group so that when you go in, it is a community. You actually feel like that. And you can show up as you can show up and be, hey, this is me. And so I recently went to the conference, and I am so glad that I actually worked with my anxiety and went, you know what? No, I'm going anyway. I'm going to do this because it was amazing. Like it was really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you got something out of going. You
Yeah.
got a lot out of going.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I got a
So
bit of
for,
FOMO.
yeah, that's right. Next year, next year.
Yep. Yep, I've
Yeah.
I've registered my ticket.
Oh, yes. Nice one. And so for you with online presence, what advice can you give someone to actually help them show up authentic and to tune out the voices of other people?
Um, well, I guess one of the things I would suggest is no matter what your knowledge is about being online or even your budget, just start.
Mm,
Start with what you have, start with what resources you have. If you feel like you've got to wait until you have the budget for a professional photographer, I would suggest just use your camera phone and take photos of yourself or the things that you're making.
mhm.
Because having something out there is better than having nothing or waiting for that to come.
Yeah, I agree with that because when I
Yeah.
started, I'm like, oh, I've got to have a website and I've got to have this and I've got to have that. But just getting yourself out there is, it's a big step for starters, especially for someone like me who, has had mental health issues. Like it is a big step. And I was brought up, and I love talking about this. I was brought up where you were seen and not heard, the tall poppy syndrome, all that kind of stuff. So for me to get out and to get online and go, well, actually, this is me. It was like, should I do that? Should I do that? Should I actually put a photo up of me? Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Sounds like a night and day difference.
Yeah, it is, and that's why where you said about just doing it and not caring about professional photos or anything like that. Yes, down the track you can have that, but when you're first starting out, you sometimes you don't even know who you actually are because you start growing into being the CEO.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And you're
So
not going to get to the end point until you actually start.
yeah, and that's such a good point. Is like you've got this beautiful dream, but how can you get out there if you don't actually do something? Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was going to say, if it's your first time being on a video online and you're sort of like, oh, I'm so nervous, I'm so embarrassed. that in itself is not
Mm.
something to be embarrassed about, because you're being who you are in that moment.
Yes, yeah, and I love and I actually share it every now and then. My first Facebook Live I did on my page because you should see it. It is hilarious because I'm on there and I'm talking like I'm really passionate, and just come and have a call with me because I'm just so passionate. And I look like, where's the passion? Because I was
Oh,
so monotone, so like nothing. And like now, you can see I am passionate about what I do. So yeah, I love sharing that because it's a good reminder for people that everyone starts somewhere.
yeah.
Mm.
I actually have yeah, I followed some people, over the course of years, and I can see their first YouTube videos, it's like they're a robot standing
Yeah.
in front of the camera, and then over time they get
Mm.
better and better at it, and you start to see the real them.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the same thing, when you create posts, your first post that you're going to put out might be stilted and they might be like, you sort of read it and you're sort of like, yeah. But until, you really just keep doing that, then you find your voice.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
like learning to ride a bicycle. Like, I don't ride a bicycle, but you know what I mean. It's like you're really wobbly and awkward to start with,
Mm.
but it,
Yeah.
it can take weeks and months of practice to, be able to confidently cycle down a road with cars and traffic.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, totally. And, for me, and I freely admit this because I'm showing up as me, I had a hobby for years because I had a safe job. So why should I, start getting this hobby into a business? Why should I do that? And so thankfully, because I had a hobby, I had lots of practice. So I was able to show up and just what people say, throw spaghetti at the wall. And so I just got to practice all that.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And so for you, how do you help your beautiful clients actually, show up?
Well, my particular special interests are actually in taking an existing successful business and growing it further with paid advertising.
Ooh,
Yeah,
because that's something that I haven't had the confidence to do yet.
yeah. It's I don't like using this word, but it is a little bit of a gamble. But when it works well, it is an investment that pays off.
Hmm. Yeah. And so what do you mean by works well? What's your definition of that?
I think having a good setup to begin with, doing preparation, doing research, making sure that you've really nailed your messaging, and
Mm.
then also really nail the destination, the website or the landing page that you
Mhm.
send people to.
Mm. Ah, yeah, and that messaging is the biggest thing. Like for me, I'm refining what I'm actually doing, and now it's just clicked. It really has clicked, and that's the biggest thing is nailing that messaging, as you said. So again, just put stuff out there, and when something does actually work, then put that into like a database or something and go, this post worked because the more that you can do those kind of posts, the more that your messaging will work so that when you actually then do the ads, people have seen you and gone, okay, yeah, I like that. The ad, the Facebook or whatever goes, oh, look at this one.
Yeah, that's actually like a part of the strategy that I encourage is looking over what worked well organically, and then okay, we'll use the ingredients of that post to create our sponsored post.
Mm, yeah. Do you so if a post has been working really well and it's actually a post that will match the sponsored ad, do you actually promote that one first and then a sponsored ad or just go straight into the ad?
Usually no. Usually you'd want to create something a bit custom to run as that paid post.
Mm,
Um, the only reason why you would want to say boost something that you've made already is just to get the engagement.
mm,
And when you do it that way, the engagement sort of like doesn't really have a defined goal. So it just goes to anyone, anywhere.
Ah,
Yeah.
oh, yes, that's right. Because with ads, you can really refine that audience, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as you can tell, I know nothing about ads.
Yeah. It's a whole can of worms. I can't just explain it in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so yeah. But like for if anyone watching and they have got that level of success, then go and have a look at what you can actually do to do a sponsored ad because it's worth it. Like
Mhm.
it really is worth to have an ad out there and just, really market yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm, yeah. And if someone is, so they're starting out, is there certain posts that you think is probably better to actually help get them to, refine their messaging and everything?
Oh, I guess there's no like one specific formula.
Mhm.
It's like what I said at the start. Work with what you've already got and what you're best at, um, rather than trying to fit what you do into a specific kind of post format.
Ah,
Because I feel like that being yourself, working with what you're best at and the tools that you're comfortable using, it'll just work better in the long run, especially if you're doing it yourself.
mm, yeah, yeah. And so how, like, if I was starting out, how would I find what works best for me? Because I did actually, when I got on, I did sort of struggle with what to put out there.
I would encourage trying a variety of things. Try a still photo, try doing short videos yourself, even if it feels awkward.
Mm, yep. So more about getting your face out there than anything.
Yeah, but even if you are not comfortable with um, having your face all the time,
Mhm.
or if you don't want to at all, I've seen some success with just text on posts, but the text like has to really speak, like it
Mm,
has to really grab people. You can't just
yeah.
say whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I've done that. I've done that. And yeah, for me, what I found was I love having some text posts and then some posts that actually have graphics. So it's different kinds of ones. And it's a good reminder that I need to get back and do some Facebook Lives. Thank you. Because I do actually love doing them, and I haven't done them for ages. So that's another one. If you're comfortable, even if you're not comfortable, I encourage you just to get on and just do a video. You could be out walking and just do one. It doesn't matter because, like, my first video is probably about 5 years ago now, actually, and look at the difference in me. I've now got a podcast, well, actually, too, and that's
Who?
what can happen, and I'm looking at being a speaker at the conference next year, and eventually I'll
Oh,
be doing lots of speaking because I worked with my anxiety, my depression, and everything, and worked through that to then gain the confidence to do that. Yeah, it's quite incredible.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Are you going to be doing that as well? Like you're going to be speaking and getting yourself out there?
Oh, I do like the idea of that.
Mm,
Maybe I think I might just stick with podcasts for now.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another great way of getting your messaging out there so that when you do get to the level of having the ads, you've got all these great, podcast interviews that you can promote before then. So when a sponsored ad comes out, it can do even better.
Yeah, that's exactly
Mm.
right.
Yeah, it's just, it's amazing just doing all these beautiful things to having this amazing online presence. And one of the biggest things I will say is make sure you market yourself, even if it's just something really simple, have some branding because then branding can be as simple as your words and the colors you use. Because then when people see that, they associate that with you.
Hmm.
Mm. And is that what you do? Like when you create a graphic for an ad, do you make sure that there's like branding on there or, with a beautiful graphic or the photo, whatever you use?
Yeah, usually, yeah. So I'm not actually a graphic designer or a branding designer.
Mm,
So if my client doesn't have those visual identity or assets
mhm,
already created, I wouldn't encourage them to go and do that.
Mhm.
But I also, like, if they still insist on having my help, I'll just work with what they have.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And it can be, like even having a photo of, something that represents what the ad is about can be just as profound.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on stock photos. You you run ads with stock photos. I think that looks so silly.
Well, actually, I will ask then, why is that?
Because it's not you. And I think in this age, people can sort of tell that it's like staged and
Mm.
from some sort of stock library.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and that's why, when you've got to that level of success, having those professional photos done is a big thing. And when you go to that photographer, you say, this is what I want the photos to actually do, like I want them to represent the fact that I'm an artist. I want them to represent that I show up as me, so that when
Yeah.
you then go do an ad, you've got all these photos that you can just, use.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
exactly right.
Yeah, and even like, you don't always have to have a professional photographer. If you take just a little course on how to actually take really good selfies where you might be sitting at a computer or something, then you can actually do that yourself
Mm.
and they can be just as good.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of courses, I might just plug another beautiful business owner. Have you heard of Linda Reed Enever?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I actually did a day out with her in a small group recently, and it was just like a mini course on how to take selfies, and we walked around the Melbourne CBD just looking for locations to take photos of ourselves.
Oh, now that's cool. Oh,
Yeah.
why can't she be up here?
Well, ask her.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure that people can find Linda that way because, yeah, like
Yeah.
just, as you said, doing that can make a difference. Like when you've got those photos out there, we can see, that's you. And, it's really cool to be able to do that yourself because if you haven't, got the money to have professional photos, then why not learn to do it yourself? It can be just as good.
Yeah. Yeah, and it didn't cost very much. There was not a camera out there. We all just used our smartphones.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now that's cool.
Yeah.
Because you think, oh yeah, no, I need a really good camera to be able to do that. But yeah, if you can do it, just do it with your phone.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. And any other advice that you would love to give people to help them understand about being online and getting to the point of then doing ads?
Yeah. Well, to start with, if you do have a business, you do need to be online. And yeah, in the short term, like I said before, just work with the best of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then things to consider over the medium and long term is like once you become established, your customers will start looking for you in places like Google. So it's important to be able to show up there as close as you can to the top because there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things going on at the top of search results. And over the years, Google has sort of been like pushing down the organic results with
Mm.
sponsored ads.
Yeah, they have, haven't
It's a
they?
bit of a fight, but it's essential for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. So do you help people do sponsored ads on Google as well?
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that's cool. Because you're right, like, and I've done that before because I actually search myself because I
Mm.
want to see where I am. And you're right, like there was one search I did, not for me, but something else. And I think there was like 5 sponsored ads first.
Yeah.
Like, wow, okay, they've got to scroll down and find what you want.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And how are you? I will ask this question. So it's about AI. Um, how do you find AI will like in the future, will it be something that people will actually use to instead of using Google, they'll actually use AI to search stuff?
I I sort of envision it as being a sort of a blend of AI and how Google traditionally worked because I think there is some component of machine intelligence behind Google already, but I see that as the AI that we know now, like ChatGPT and all that, it'll get better at understanding not just like the words that we're looking for, but the context and the mood and all of that sort of deeper understanding stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so do you feel that it's a good idea for people to just gently start embracing AI?
I think so. I wouldn't be scared of it. I see it at the moment as just kind of like a companion to what we're doing now, just an extra brain to sit on your shoulder to help you get your ideas out, or maybe see things from a little bit of a different perspective, as if you had another person with you almost.
Yeah, I actually agree with that, because I have actually been using ChatGPT just because, there are some days where I just literally look at the computer screen and just go, huh?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just get in there and you just go, blah, and then it'll just spit out ideas. And then suddenly I've got like 20 ideas for posts that I can create.
Yeah. It's brilliant like that.
Yeah, that's how I love it. Yeah. Now, before we finish this amazing conversation, I love chatting to people. Is there anything that you would love to leave somebody? They're at that level where they have started to get the success and they want to create an ad. Is there something that you could, help them propel to doing an ad?
Again, it's one of those tricky things. How long is a piece of string,
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wanted to go down the path of doing it yourself, I would suggest like learning what you can. Don't just go onto Facebook and click boost, because that sort of strategy will get you like really superficial engagement and results. So there's a lot to think about. Crafting the right message, getting the destination, the landing page correct, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're at that level of success, you might as well go to someone like you and, who's an expert in that, because
Ideally.
that's that's what you do. It's like, I'm an expert in helping women with their intuition. So if someone comes to me for that, well, I would go to you for ads because I would have no idea. No idea. So I really encourage people, if you're at that level of success, then do spend that money and work with someone like Lou to actually do that. And for anyone watching, in the description, I've got everywhere that you can find Lou. So please, please go and check her out, because she is the expert in ads, and then it will just propel you forward and more and more and more. So yeah, please go and check Lou out. I will actually give you an order to do that, people.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's actually given me a few ideas, to what else I can do as well, because now that I am on this right path, things will just get better and better, and I will be ready for ads. Yeah, so thank you again for your time. And for anyone watching, please don't forget to subscribe, like all of that amazing stuff that supports me. And I shall see you on the next Tuesday Talk.